This is IWC Spotlight. I'm Nick Lendl, joined again this week by the owner of IWC, Justin Plummer, and our guest this week, one of the most popular stars in the entire IWC. It's Hardcore Hooven. What's up, man?
How's it going, Nick? Sorry about that. I was on mute. I'm that guy on the conference call.
Yeah, we get that out here earlier. For the last 20 minutes, he's been having trouble with his internet, his connection. If he goes out, we apologize. It's not our fault. It's definitely his. So you can blame Hooven.
That's Chinese.
That's a hashtag. Blame Hooven tonight if anything goes out. So what's up, man? You're looking nice. I like the suit.
Yeah. I try to dress nice when I'm doing stuff. Haven't been doing that much lately, but keeps you fresh, keeps you top of mind.
Well, looks like you're staying good. You're still nice clean cut there. Me and Plummer look like we haven't been out of the house in a month. But how are you enjoying this quarantine? What have you been doing during the lockdown?
Well, same as everybody else, catching up on Netflix, watching some TV. Got my marathon legs back. Been running a lot lately, so finally got my mile time under 9 minutes for the first time in years. Exercising while everybody was buying toilet paper and food. I went out and bought a shit ton of weights. So just trying to keep in shape so when this is over, come back, looking halfway decent. It's a hard thing, but have internet, have weights. Could be worse.
Well, here to talk about wrestling. This is an IWC show. What was it that started you with wrestling? Because I understand, as a kid, you watched wrestling like, many of us, but you weren't a WWF guy and you weren't necessarily a WCW guy either. You were into ECW. What drug you to ECW?
Well, I was a WWF kid. I think I grew up watching Sunday Morning Superstars, and I'm one of the kids that really remembers Jake the Snake, man. I remember, oh my God, he just the snake bit Macho Man Randy Savage. I had a meltdown. And in the barbershop, the moments we kind of talk about. So I grew up a WWF fan, and then I just kind of fell out of it. And then, like a lot of people, at least in Philadelphia, I stumbled upon ECW on WGTW 48 at 10 p.m. on Saturday night. And it got me back into wrestling. And actually, it brought me back into not just, ECW, but the WWF because they were entering the Attitude Era. And so, when I saw ECW, it was like nothing I'd ever seen. It was like, it clicked for me. And I loved every second of it. So, started off like most of us, WWF kid, Bret Hart, Razor Ramon, HBK, Brutus Beefcake, all that good stuff. And but then I discovered, ECW, which was probably independent wrestling back then, and just got absolutely hooked.
Well, being from Philadelphia, were you at any of those ECW shows?
I was lucky enough. It was funny. I talked to Shane Douglas about this. He said that the amount of wrestlers that he meets that tell him that they would lie to sneak out to see shows shocks him. But yeah, I made it to one ECW show before they kind of shut down and everything. Worth every second. We took SEPTA in. We took the R4 in out of Paoli into the city. It was awesome. And that love of wrestling kind of carried through my whole life. I was a regular at all the CZW events. What CZW did was when ECW went out of business, they got Tommy Dreamer. And they took ECW's old time slot on the same public cable channel. So when ECW kind of went out of business after it went national, and really when it went to TNN, as soon as ECW went off of cable, went off of the local TV, CZW was genius business move, slipped in, and then when they went under, they took in Tommy Dreamer. So I was the mainstay in all the CZW shows for about 5 or 6 years through that.
And that's where you actually started to train. Before anything with IWC, you actually got in the ring a little bit with CZW, right?
Yeah, so that's something not a lot of people know. I graduated college, and my promise to my mom was that she wanted me to get an education, and frankly I did that. And then I got home, and I had a job, and I'm like, okay, well I did everything I was supposed to. I want to try wrestling, and it was a little bit harder to get into back then. I don't want to age myself, but it was a while ago, and I went to a tryout, which was the same thing as it is now. You pay, you go to the tryout. They push you real hard. I left there, my own 2 feet, but they really push you hard there. And the truth be told, after a few classes, talking to one trainer, it was a different time back then. If you weren't, 6 foot, 225 pounds, or had
Yeah,
access
absolutely.
had access to the best pharmaceutical supplements in the world, it was hard to break in if you weren't a giant. So, and truth be told, I wasn't in the best shape, and they told me to, work on my physique, and rightfully so, hit the gym, get my cardio up, and come back. And I did that. I actually ended up losing, I think, about 90, 100 pounds in my quest to kind of go back to the tryout. Yeah, yeah, you bust your ass. You work hard if you want something. And but then life took me in a different direction. So I kind of had to put that on hold as I pursued another I guess entertainment avenue, if you would.
Well, you brought up college. Now that's where we bring you in, Plummer. Where did Daniel Hooven meet Justin Plummer? When did that relationship start?
We missed about 6 years in that story there.
Let's rewind. Let's get it back. Let's rewind a little bit.
It's funny because as similar as our paths into wrestling fandom were, it's kind of our paths into wrestling were similar too. And for the past 17 years, Hooven and I's paths have crossed back and forth over and over again. We can't seem to get away from each other. But the first time we met each other was in 2003 back at Slippery Rock University. We pledged for the same fraternity, and anyone who's done that knows that the bond that you get there. And from that point, he was one of the only guys I stayed in touch with after college, in and out. But another funny story is we weren't the only two wrestling personalities in that fraternity at Slippery Rock University.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to bring this up.
Shane Taylor was, a year after us, 2 years after us?
2 years after us, yeah.
So Shane Taylor comes strolling in, the guy with the most friendly guy that you'll ever meet, the biggest smile in the world. We all loved him.
Yes.
And, he was a wrestling fan too. So, like, the three of us and maybe a few others all bonded over that, of course, because we'd still, try to watch the pay-per-views or whatever. And back then, you'd swap DVDs and all that stuff. But I remember, Hooven, I don't know if you remember when Mark told us that he was becoming a professional wrestler. And we're like, that's before at least I knew about the schools and how you do it. And I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Because he talked about wrestling with a lot of guys that I've been to 2 independent shows in my life before I started working for IWC. One was very early on, and the other one was FNW, Sam Adonis' dad's promotion in Butler that I went to with Hooven. So Hooven, you could kind of tell the story there. I mean, I think at that point it was 2007, so we've been friends for 4 years at that point.
Yeah, because remember we were having a party at the Thunderdome, and we opted to do this independent wrestling show. We actually, we take one step back. I remember, so part of pledging, after you pledge, obviously you get it, and then you become a fraternity brother, and you can kind of haze a little bit. And obviously, we didn't haze, but you always have to take a quiz to kind of get, each of us would make a quiz for the pledges to take to get to know us a little bit better. And Plummer had my favorite question. And it was a question nobody got right except for maybe me and a few others that remembered. He asked him who won the Royal Rumble, where it was a double elimination at the end. And I remember laughing when he told me, I saw that, because I'm like, okay, he is definitely a wrestling fan. But we saw an ad on Pro Wrestling News and Views, which was a Butler cable access show. Anybody in this area knows about those guys, Randy and all them. Like, we saw an ad for this independent wrestling show. And we're like, hell, it's Friday night. Let's go. We'll get back in time to finish the party. Let's have some fun. And we went there. I'll never forget it was like our first foray into like I had seen independent wrestling, but it was ECW, so it was still like highly produced. This was like pure independent wrestling. And I remember the first match was I believe it was an evil state trooper or cop versus Doink the Clown, a questionable Doink the Clown.
Always a Doink the Clown, no matter where. Always a Doink the Clown.
But I remember, enjoying the show. Demolition Axe was there, and we paid to get a Polaroid with him, which we still have to this day.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny because as we were prepping here, I found this bad boy in my office down here in my garage. To Justin, good luck axe, and that's what drew us in. That's what that's really where this all started, I think, for me at least.
Yeah. Special. I said, this guy's going to be fun. I said, as a wrestling fan, I was just mesmerized that he was on the independent circuit working at Days Inn. And it ended up being DJZ, as we know, or Doc Kumbala, as we know him now. But and Plummer, who else was on that show? It was like a laundry list.
Brody Lee was on that show. I think Marshall Gambino and Jimmy DeMarco were. Brody Lee's Luke Harper. Marshall Gambino and Jimmy DeMarco were on that show. Chuck Roberts was the ring announcer. I think Gory was Shima's opponent that night. God, I'm missing something. Matt Morgan, Calvin McGrath. Those guys haven't been around in a while. But there were a lot of. It's funny because I still have it on VHS, and if I ever find a VCR, I'll watch it back. But I remember even when I just started working for IWC, I popped that tape in here, 5-6 years later, and noticed so many names. So it's funny that here we are now, Hooven and I, and just 13 years ago or longer, we were sitting in the crowd watching them.
You gotta get that to me. I have one of those DVD converter things.
Do you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, I got so much for you then. I did.
I do all the home movies and stuff from when I was a kid, and I'll watch because I'd like to see that too. So anyway, Hooven. So fast forward, if I'm forgetting anything, you guys, you've been friends forever. I'm kind of the third wheel in this conversation. Fast forward. Plummer buys.
We're not even there. I mean, Hooven, we're gonna have to fast forward because the stories of our paths crossing through the past 17 years are so insane. We're not going to be able to cover them all now.
Well,
we left Slippery Rock and kind of slightly grew apart, but it wasn't wrestling that I don't think that first brought us back together, right?
No, it was the ghost stuff.
Yeah.
So just a couple of fun trivia facts. Justin Plummer and I shot a TV pilot together at one point, but that was like towards the end of it. And we actually were on the final cuts of NBC's Candy Crush game show.
Nobody knows about Candy Crush. I'm so pissed about that.
But no, we actually ended up doing some long story short, one of our mutual friends at the time had gotten into ghost hunting and needed some people to help out with some things, production, just general interest, which kind of tornadoed into this 3-year period where, I ended up doing a show on Travel Channel called Paranormal Challenge and won the series premiere with a few friends. And then after that, we filmed Sci-Fi School Spirits, which Justin Plummer was on, describing our experience with a poltergeist at our fraternity house. And I watched Justin Plummer in a drunken stupor put that ghost in his place. He cut a promo on this malicious poltergeist and threw a bottle at the wall. I remember because it was right next to my room. I hear a bottle smashing, and Plummer was cutting a promo of a lifetime. Trivia fact, Sam Mohawk was the Indian's name, and Isaiah Wolf is inspired by Sam Mohawk in his story of rage and murder.
Isaiah Wolf was a huge fan of Sci-Fi School Spirits. That's how this all started, I heard. And Shane Taylor was also on that show with us, too.
Yeah, Shane Taylor was on that show as well. That was a fun experience. But then I ended up doing a show called Honda Encounters Face-to-Face on Bio. It was okay. It didn't really go how I expected, but that's the reason why I never veered back into the dream of becoming an independent wrestler in Philly. And I guess the kind of windfall that after that show was over, I ended up in Grove City, and Justin and I had kept in touch. Like I said, we shot a pilot together. We had kept in touch with some ghost stuff, him and I. And I remember he started doing stuff at the IWC. I believe it was when Pedro was unable to make a Clearfield show. You made your big debut. And through
big debut in Clearfield, man.
Yeah,
Clearfield crowd's always hot, man. Daniel Hooven says it best: the heart of professional wrestling runs through Clearfield, Pennsylvania.
Yes, it
does.
does.
Oh my God. Those people love it, man. I get so excited every time we're there, man. They get so excited for it. They love it. They love it. Wow.
If anyone from Clearfield's watching, we love you guys. It sucks that we couldn't be there. It sucks that we had to miss out this year, but
and we have Hulk Hogan of Clearfield on as the guest tonight, so it all worked out.
I started seeing Justin and I kept in touch with social media and just kind of being in the same area, and I was learning self-teaching myself photography at the time, and he was in a nice spot where he was contributing to IWC, in multiple ways. He had the Aftershock show, which was, some really great content at the time. I think it helped bridge a lot of the storylines, bridge a lot of the content, and he was all self-producing that himself, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, it's really impressive. You look at that and all that's just done by him. That's really impressive stuff.
And then, so, long story short, actually, Night of Superstars 2, I think it was like 7 years ago, I asked Justin Plummer if it would be okay if I could maybe come take some pictures. And, he brought me in, introduced me to Chuck Roberts, introduced me around. And since then, I just started being the ringside photographer for for about 5 years, and I think right up there, those are some of my favorite pictures I've taken. But that photographer gig Justin Plummer opened up for me, really opened up some cool opportunities. I was actually able to shoot the Trent Acid Memorial Cup show where DJZ was there, Teddy Hart, a lot of like really popular independent names, Joey Janela. But my camera let me go to some pretty cool places, and that was all because Justin brought me in to meet Chuck, and that
What
was
did Chuck say when you met Chuck? I can't remember the story, but I feel like it was less than stellar when you showed up. He was just like,
well, I mean, that's a stressful day. I think.
Oh yeah.
Did he ask you if you wanted to be a referee instead?
No. He was nice. He just said, "Nice to meet you." He's like, "Nice to meet you, pal." If Justin says you're okay, you're okay. He goes, "I don't think you can be at ringside tonight because I don't want you getting in the way, but just find something to do." And so I found ways to contribute. Took photos from the crowd. I'll never forget videotaping Justin Plummer's interview with Vader, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, that's a story that we never told either. But God.
So I was taking pictures.
You can't leave these people hanging. There's people watching that are going to be on the edge of their seat wanting to know about this interview with Vader. You can't just say, "Oh, it's a story for another time." This is the time. Let's do it.
Listen, I'm sure this was just a bad night. God bless Vader. He's he's a legend. But this, I think he was just having an off night. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's a temper. Well, yeah, look, everybody, everybody does.
So I'm actually taking backstage pictures. So while Justin's getting interviews with the stars and promos, I'm taking pictures just backstage, some cool stuff. So Jenny was videotaping at the time, and Justin was asked Vader if he would do a promo to give some of the young guys a little bit of exposure to Raw. Cool thing. He was just tired, I think. He had a long night ahead of him. He just didn't want to do it, which is understandable. So Justin really kind of said, "Hey, this would mean a lot to IWC. It would mean a lot to these guys. Really put him over."
He doesn't give up.
I was aggressive as hell. I was worse than you, Lendl.
Yeah. And Vader was like, "Okay, one time." So I'm sitting there trying to be quiet, not to make noise. They film the promo. He walks away. Everything's good. And then, well, Justin, why don't you finish off what you realized after that?
Yeah, it was a promo with the STDs, chest flexor and the STDs. So the promo finishes. Everyone walks off, and Jen's filming this. Hooven's taking pictures, and Jen's filming. And we're all so terrified. So Jen didn't say a word. But Vader starts walking over to the pisser, and Jen looks at me, and she's like, "The battery in the camera died halfway through." And I'm like, "No!" So he's taking a piss over on the corner, and I'm like, "I need this promo." Like, that's all that mattered to me. I'd have nightmares about not getting.
Yeah, I'm doing it again.
So I go over to him while he's in the middle of peeing, and I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, but my wife just told me the battery died on the camera. Is there any way we can just do it one more time?" And I think I blacked out at that point.
He was super nice about it.
Yeah, at that point, I think he was just like, "God, what do I got to do to get this guy, these people to leave me alone?" But we got it. It's out there.
And that was my first time shooting any photos. So I'm just there trying to be like quiet and get out of the way.
I thought we were all.
What an introduction.
I thought we were all going to die. And he wanted to go home so bad that night. He's just like, oh. But here we are.
So you're hanging around, you're taking pictures. I didn't realize you did that for 5 years, really. It didn't seem like that long. I guess I came in kind of way into the tenure there. I didn't think it was 5 years. But
yeah,
so eventually
2012. That was when
you get the wrestling bug again. How did that conversation come up when you talk to Plummer and say, "Hey, I want to do a little more than hang on the outside"?
Well, he gave me the address to about 3 other schools in the tri-state area, and so I think you should go there. No, it was a conversation. I realized, it was one of those things where I'm somebody that if I want to do something, I know that I'm not, if I wanted to play basketball, I'm never going to play in the NBA. But I think try to be realistic, and I want to give everything 100%. And I think my biggest fear is getting to a point where I wanted to try something, but I just didn't have the balls to try it. And it's so cliched, but it's better to try and fail than not try at all.
Oh, yeah.
And, so I actually had been trying to get myself in a little bit better shape, bulking up, doing what I could to be in a position where it didn't put anybody else in an awkward position. And, I think Justin told me the same thing as, he tells anybody that comes in, you're going to make your own opportunity. You're going to work hard. You're going to, you're not going to get any special treatment. I know that. And I think, it's a weird position because, we've known each other for so long, but I think there's also,
Wow, look at that.
And I think going through, that was after that was like my debut. Yeah, we'll get to that. That's down the line. But no, I think the fact that we've known each other for so long, I think there's a mutual respect there where I wouldn't want a free handout. I'm just not that type of guy. And he made it clear, you're going to work with everybody in the class. You're going to do what you got to do. And I would say gave me the same speech he gave everybody else. I think that, that was fair. That's what you would expect.
Yeah, I would almost argue that Hooven had a tougher time because I did know him for, since 2003. And I knew him as the frat guy that was drinking and was chubby and all that stuff. So he got a clean slate here with the IWC guys, and people really respected him because his photography, and I'm not just saying this, I've heard this from so many people, including House of Hardcore people, that his photography was some of the best in the country, if not the world at the time. So he had a lot of respect for doing what he did on that end. But the people didn't know him before that. So I feel like, I already had a bias as he was not the athlete that, he turned out to be. So I think, some people think he had it easier. I would say maybe in some instances he did, but on the other side, I think I had a bias against him because I knew him, and then that kind of the reverse psychology in my own head of saying, all right, we need someone to take this spot. Hooven would be good, but I don't want people to think that it's because he's my buddy, so let me pick somebody else. So he may have had to even push a little bit harder than others.
Yeah, a lot of things go against him. It's one of those things, too, where, if you push for someone, you almost push for them too much. They say, no, we're not, you don't want to do it anymore. So he went through the school and he went through the classes just like everybody else. So he definitely earned your stripes. And 5 years before even starting, 5 years is definitely paying your dues, watching as closer than the front row, closer than ringside. It's the front row seat into where the magic happens, So you go through the school. Mm-hmm. Who were some of the people you trained with? Any names that we remember?
Yeah,
it's not that long ago.
No, it's not that long ago. I mean, I'm a big fan of kayfabe, maybe because I'm older, so I don't I never post anything about training or school or anything. I mean, John McChesney trained me in 33 days. That's that's what I always say, because that's what the story said. Which, by the way, we'll get to that, but John did, John's been much more than just an on-screen friend and mentor to me. He's gone above and beyond to be a good person and help me out through everything.
Love McChesney.
When he didn't really have to, and that's why I love him to death. But no, I think Katie Arquette was one of my Katie Arquette was my classmate. Jamie Jameson, him and I actually I didn't even know we had a history, but Plummer, you probably don't even know this. He used to heckle me. Him and his buddies from Beaver County used to heckle me at ringside at White Oak. And we were doing ring crew one day, and I caught him taking pictures of me and snapping it to his friends saying, "I'm with the Asian photographer, LOL." So Jamie, Katie,
Calvin was in there. There were 7 of you, and everybody reached a level of success to one degree or another. That was really nice.
Yeah,
that's really rare.
Yeah, we most of us are still wrestling today, But yeah, and I think it was a good group because really, we all brought different things to the table, and that was actually the first class under a new trainer. So I think our I don't want to say success, but maybe our longevity and our commitment, and I think our attitude and our ability to work together as a group and pay our dues without anything. I think that showed wonders of the people that were training us and the discipline that they brought to that school.
You guys were the first class that had that many successful graduates that got to work at least on a local level regularly, and the school's been pumping out the same. I mean, every class has been the same except for one. Well, we won't go into who that was because you probably don't know any of them. But every class has been the same since then, and you guys were the pioneers of that. 8 started, 7 graduated, and before that, we were only getting maybe 2 or 3 at best that were good enough to get in the ring at the end of training. So this was really like the class that kicked things off for the ICWA and brought us to the level that we're at right now. And Hooven was part of that.
And I was really proud because I remember my rookie year, heartburn. Maybe it's Corona. I don't know. I shouldn't joke about that. man. But I remember, yeah. Well,
Edit that one out.
We were able to contribute on a regular basis after that, and I remember Cage Fury. I had that match with Bulk, which I thought went real well. But Katie had that classic with Lou Fisto, and we were, maybe what we were 6 months into the business at that time. So, I can't speak enough volumes about the trainers in that class, and Plummer owning it, setting expectations, and just the whole thing was. It reminded me of pledging all over again. You kind of leave your ego at the door. You do what you got to do, and you just learn to respect what you get. And it makes you fall in love with the wrestling more, I think, if you really want it.
It's very similar. For people who have never pledged a fraternity or sorority, I think training is very similar because it's a lot of just keep your mouth shut and your ears open and be respectful and learn as much as you can. And so Hooven really did that twice in his life now. And they always say it's the greatest time of your life you never want to do again. And I think that's what they say about Greek life. And I think that also probably applies to training too. Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get through. Because you're not just training multiple nights a week. You're doing ring crew. You're flyering. You're doing so much stuff. And that's really where you see who the leaders are and who stands out and everything. So it's not just what happens in the ring, but all the other stuff on the outside.
And you make it fun. Like, I think you make what you make of it. I know there were some nights where we were almost delusional at 5 a.m. unloading a cage at the facility. I remember our class had a bend, almost like when we had planned up here, where it was a night of superstars, then Clearfield, then a court time show. And but you make the best out of it. You make some good memories. You have fun, and it's worth every second of it,
And it is really a testament to that class, and it really shows that you did earn your spot. 6 months in, you're getting those big matches. You had the cage match with Bulk, which is still one of my favorite all-time feuds in IWC. I love that entire feud. I love being a part of some of the vignettes and some of the backstage stuff with that. And you mentioned also Lufisto facing Katie 6 months in. That's just a testament to how worthy that class was. But let's back up again. You mentioned these matches that you had. Let's get to the debut. When did this whole debut come together?
Well, I think one of the things I really liked about when Plummer took over was the Reloaded show. As a marketing professional, the fact that he's able to sell tickets now on not knowing who's going to be there blows my mind as a marketing professional. What's the bigger draw in January in wrestling? It's not knowing who's going to be there. Correct. I want to see who's going to be there. Anybody can show up. So we had me debut on the reset button, and I debuted as a tag team, as one of the challengers for the tag team championships. And, it was one of those things where anything could happen. Earlier in the night, a T-Rex had shown up. And actually, it was a big night for IWC, because that was the same night that Jack Pollock, I believe, had his first match in the IWC, and I believe it is. I think he wrestled Andrew Palace. I'm not sure. But, I just remember that night. And I think it was a contract on a pole match. I think it was a contract on a ladder match. I think it was. I might be wrong. But anyway, the fraternity were the tag team champions at the time, and God, were they ever on a hot streak. Like you talked about last week, they were just one of the most special talents ever come through the IWC, in my opinion, at least in my time here. And nobody knew who was going to show up. And then they hit the reset button. And, I mean, you can see right here, if they want to play the clip, kind of the whole what happened.
I hope it's the swamp monster. It could be anybody. It's the photographer.
Oh my God, I'm a photographer. I had to get in the ring after wrestling. And it was a great segment. You just watch here, like Channing just such a master with timing and playing to the character and the crowd. It was your typical just bully story. Like, I wasn't trained. I think that was one of my favorite things is that we had kept the fact I was training under wraps for a full year, which is hard to do in pro wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, me, I'm in the company. Of course, I'm not at the training school every week, but I'm in the company. I might have ring announced this match. Who knows? And I thought this was a one and done. I thought you were going to get your licks in, and then you were going to go back to taking pictures next month. I didn't realize this was, the start of something here. I didn't even know.
Yeah, and so, we did the whole bully thing. And I think the part where the fans really, you put my glasses right there. And I think I yelled out their prescription, which a lot of fans mocked me for. But I am so nervous at this point because this was a month before my official debut. But, and then the camera part. And I think this is where, the crowd kind of said, oh, but I think the crowd was waiting for somebody to rescue me. like the crowd waiting for like a tag team to come out, and but then this happens right here.
Oh. And
And
that's the camera that he used for 5 years to film to take pictures at IWC. Can you believe that? That had to be at least $800, if not more.
If not just the lens itself. And then this happened, and they beat me down, and Big League came out, and that's later on in a better time when I was not just taking pictures at ringside, but so the Reloaded thing was great. Like, I had a lot of fun with it. I think the crowd reacted well to it. I was nervous as hell. Being put in there with the fraternity and John McChesney is a lot different than having your first match kind of low key somewhere. It was more of a segment than anything. But then we actually did the Dusty finish where John and I somehow won the tag team championships out of nowhere. And but because John could come out to rescue me and was never officially selected by the reset button, it was overturned and set up for a rematch at Rural Valley, where it was me and Big League John McChesney versus the fraternity, which also kickstarted my feud with Bulk Nasty, because John was going into the Super Indie feud with Chris LaRusso at the time, and Bulk was Chris LaRusso's heavy, and we kind of ran parallel track. It was Chris and John put on some absolute classics. I think culminating Night of Superstars with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And Bulk, the pop was huge. And then Bulk and I kind of went on, our own track with our feud, which I thought, that's one of the feuds I'm really proud of. I think we both wanted the, I think Bulk's a great talent. I think he's a great wrestler. And funny thing is, I don't remember the cage match until somebody showed me, because I actually blacked out at the end, so I had a concussion from the power bomb. So when he steps over me, I wasn't able to protect myself. So I kind of got back normal. My side was like, I could barely walk, and I also walked into that cage match with a torn MCL, so I was pretty beat up in there. But I thought the cage match was a good kind of way to top off that feud. So it was a fun first year.
Well, you talk about the guys that you were in the ring with and that the Bulk Nasty feud, which up until this whole Hardcore Hooven run, I thought was the highlight of your career. I love that feud. Like I said before, I love everything about that feud. But what were some of the lessons learned? You come out, you're alongside John McChesney for the first couple months of your career. And on the flip side, you're across the ring from Channing Denver, who we had on last week. Very smart psychology-wise in the ring. He's a great bully character. Played that to perfection. What are some of the lessons you learned in those early months that you didn't think were going to come into fruition? Something that kind of kicked you in the head out of nowhere that said, "Oh wow, this I get this now."
Yeah. It's funny. It's nothing. They always say nothing like on the job experience. And you can train for something. You can train. You can read guides. You can read books. You can do this. You can do that. But you have to get thrown into the deep end. And number one in my mind was to just shut up and listen. Just being around them. John took me up the Erie for a few shows, and I just helped up there. But he still brought me out there and let me kind of absorb his knowledge. Understanding that professional wrestling is a privilege, it's a privilege to be a part of. Something where just hearing their individual stories, how they had to break into the business, and it wasn't as clear cut as go to school, go to the company, get your debut, network on social media. But I think the thing I've learned from them both, especially John and Channing, and John more so, just try to talk to him a little bit more, is feel the crowd. It's so easy to get in the ring, compete, and leave. But John really make that moment. And sometimes the moments you're seeking out to make aren't the moments that the crowd wants to see and aren't moments that are meant to be made. The crowd will dictate what they want to see, and your job as a professional wrestler is to hear it, interpret it, and do your best to go the way that fits your character and fits what the crowd wants to see in that moment.
Absolutely. Someone like John McChesney, and now you see with Elijah Dean, Zach Nystrom, even Dime Piece now, the new team, Big League. Those kids are getting such an education, and they better not take it for granted, because they got put into a really good spot, and a lot of people would kill to be put in that spot. So I don't know if they're watching right now.
Not a lot of people would kill to be either of them, though. Hell, Mantime's the only guy on this roster that I tower over.
Well, this isn't about Mandan. This is about you. So the first couple months, you might have had that sympathy factor for your character. You come out, oh, that's the photographer. Oh, they beat him up. Oh, look at him. He's, he has his glasses and he's blah blah. But now, that's gone away. That vibe has disappeared, and you've been doing this long enough now to where there are people that are new fans of IWC that may not even know your origin, may not even know that you were the photographer and that's how you got your foot in the door. And they just see you now for Hardcore Hooven. I want to talk about, and it seems like it happened so fast to me, and obviously that's not the case, but what was it that transitioned into this newfound hardcore style that you've been showing the last couple months? I saw you bleeding buckets. Literally, I was scared for you, man. Honestly, that was a scary sight, that match with Mambo Italiano, Shane Douglas, the referee. And I'm not the only one. I'm looking around like, and there's everyone else is kind of looking the same, and when you get that look, someone's hurt, something happened that shouldn't have. What was it that led you to, because this isn't the photographer. This is a new guy.
Yeah, so I think I was in a weird position. So it's not like, the crowd knew me from being ringside. They know, the producers. They know, Jeremy. They know Jeremy. He's the video guy. They know everybody. So you can't just debut and expect to be something new. My example I give to that is, why would I try to come out with a new character? It would be like Lord Tensai showing up when they all know it's, Prince Albert with Asian makeup on him. It's just the crowd. You don't want to insult the crowd's intelligence. And that's not a knock at him. I think he's a great competitor. I mean, he's training people in NXT, but I think he probably feels the same way. It's hard.
Yeah, that wasn't his idea.
Yeah, it wasn't his idea. It's hard. I think the first year the regular fans said, okay, they're kind of, he's trying. But I think the Bulk Nasty feud, I think people thought I was willing to put my body on the line. I did some really unsafe things on purpose during that. The thing that I hated was I don't want to.
That's the quote we need to take from this interview. I did some unsafe things on purpose during that.
Yeah, I mimicked the Sabu neck bump just to see if I could pull it off.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yeah, I did a lot of unsafe things, but people say, okay, so when are you going to go back to doing photos? Are you is this a long-term thing? And I'm like, yeah, I just trained for a year to wrestle for 3 months and quit. And it's not my style. But, I think after my first year, I think I earned a little bit of respect from the fans for the Bulk Nasty feud. And that was, a lot on him because he was a veteran in that situation. But after that, I kind of hovered around. And I was, to be honest, I think I started to underachieve a little bit. I think I could have done a lot better. I don't want to say I let myself go, because I don't think I did that. But I was lost. And I'm trying to get out there and wrestle more places, but how do I translate what I'm doing in IWC to another promotion that has no backstory on me? How do I promote going to another promotion under a character when IWC knows who I am and they're the people that I perform in front of the most? So it's a weird situation to be in because, either way it's a catch-22. So, I took some reflection time and, over the past year, I pretty much tried to transform myself. And I wanted to come back in July. I remember Justin and I talked about this, about kind of, if there was anything going on in July. He said, well, we have this one thing we might do if you want it. And I said, I'll make the most out of anything you can give me at this point. I'll make the most out of anything you can give me. So what I did was I dropped 60 pounds. And actually that picture there, I'm the same weight in that picture on both sides of it. It's just a different weight distribution. And I cut hard. Wow. Same weight, same exact weight as my debut. And I kind of consider that July spot my re-debut. And, I told Chuck, I said, I haven't been getting booked a lot lately, and I understand there's a lot of new faces, and he has to see what he has in everybody else. And, maybe I think, because he knows me so well, he's like, this guy's half-assing a little bit of something. So, no, he shouldn't be on the show. And it made me better. And so I wanted to come back. I came back with new gear, new music, and I wrote Hardcore Hooven on my type, so we had to say it. But that's who I am. At the end of the day, the feud with the culmination, I got leaps and bounds better by working with those guys, but I was also the first one to say, hey, let's put sticks in my head. I'll take an unprotected chair shot. I'll do this, I'll do that. I don't care. And I think Hardcore Hooven is alliteration, but it's who I am. But this is me. This is what I grew up watching. This is a style I like. And ironically, I think because I've been in more singles matches, people are seeing that, hey, he can actually wrestle if he wants to, but he just likes doing hardcore shit. So, this run, I think, I just tried to pretty much re-debut as myself turn up to 11, as they always say. And I think I turned that July throwaway segment into something special. That goes on everybody involved in it. RC as well. I thought our feud was very kind of under the radar, but I think it achieved a lot. I think we're both in great places now. But that was my take on it. I wanted to re-debut, repackage myself, and come out better on the other side.
And you mentioned RC. That's another one of the most surprising things in IWC. You rewind to 1 year ago, to April of 2019, and you say 1 year from now, three of the most popular acts in IWC will be Daniel Hooven, RC Dupree, and Buck Nasty and his new tag team partner, who would end up being Xander Gabriel. I would never believe it, but that's a testament to you, man. You went out there, you did it. It's not one of those things where, okay, Plummer's going to put me in the main event, put the belt on me, I'm going to be the champion, and that's how you make it. Fans, it's so organic, man. Fans have put you over, man. You got over.
This is my nightmare with these three being so popular, to be honest with you. I'm still a Hooven denier. I mean, he did everything basically at this point on his own. I've just been throwing him in there with the most violent guys possible because I want them to hurt him so that I don't have to bring a photographer in from Toronto. I can just use Hooven again. But he keeps getting back up. But, it's always a tough spot. It's because I know him, and I always feel like if I put him in spots, it's going to look bad. And here's my, on one hand, I have a fraternity brother, and on the other hand, we have Adam Cole, Colt Cabana, Joey Janela, DJ Z, the best wrestlers in the entire, Jay White coming over from Japan. We have the best wrestlers in the world and my fraternity brother. Who are we going to put on shows? But Hooven's so persistent and relentless that he fought his way into spots, and when he got those spots, he made it happen. And now it's to the point where, you got to go with the fans. I'm not good at much, but I do feel like I'm good at listening to what is organically, what people want. And people want Hooven right now. And so as much as I want to be a denier, you're right, Lendl. He somehow pulled it off.
Well,
you're now a truther, a Hooven truther.
That's a testament to the IWC fans, too, because you mentioned some of the guys that have come through IWC. Cabana, Adam Cole, Jay White. Some of these names are unbelievable that have wrestled in IWC. And it's always good to have those names. It's always a rub to say, I brought in this guy, But the fans, more so than these guys, the fans, IWC are such diehard fans, they want to see their guys. They want to see Hardcore Hooven and RC Dupree as much as they want to see a Colt Cabana or as much as they want to see a Jonathan Gresham.
We have the best fans, I think, in the entire country, if not the world. I love our fans. I feel like I'm friends with more than half of them. And that's what I miss the most about what we're doing, kind of being stuck on the sidelines right now is I miss seeing everybody and catching up with them. I know it's killing Jen. But anyways, that's what I love and hate about Hooven the most is that you do have a lineup like that with literally the best wrestlers in the entire world. They're coming to Pittsburgh. Not even Pittsburgh. They're coming 45 minutes south of Pittsburgh to Elizabeth. And I'm getting a message from Hooven all right, what am I doing at Super Indy? And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Let me go on the record. I have been in attendance to 2 Super Indies my entire life because usually I go home for my birthday. And if there's I've only been to 2 Super Indies in my entire life. And if there's ever a time I see my name on the card for Super Indy, I'm going to politely remove myself and then take Plummer somewhere to make sure everything's still okay in the head. He doesn't have CT or anything. I think I'm trying to carve my own niche, but in my defense, I've been to 2 Super Indies in my life.
Have you ever wrestled on a Super Indy?
Nope.
Well, you never know.
Oh, here we go. Me versus Johnny Patch. There we go.
Dreams are coming true on IWC Spotlight.
I just got a text. I could do 3 matches on June 13th. Hooven. All right. That's what it takes. People keep their mouths shut, and we're pumping out so many good quality students that are graduating from our school. And at the same time, we are a place where not only, am I reaching out to national and international talent that want to come in, but they reach out to us wanting to come in. So we have this giant bucket of great guys and girls from our school, and then we have this giant bucket of awesome, incredible talent from across the country. There's just not a lot of spots. So if you keep your mouth shut, I try to keep a finger on the pulse of everybody, but you keep your mouth shut, you're going to disappear. So you got to keep speaking up. You got to keep fighting harder. If something's not working, you got to do something different. That's what Hooven did. That's how he's now one of the most popular guys on the entire roster.
And I think, if you go back to the fans, I think the fans recognize when people work hard. And I can't, I can't tell you, I don't know if I should say this, but because, I talked to a lot of them after the championship match at Unbreakable, and they would say, man, we didn't really like you, or we thought you kind of sucked, but man, you really worked hard, and we're really happy and excited for you. And that's the thing in July, that throwaway. I told Plummer, I said, I'll make that throwaway something worthwhile. I said, that was when RC was defending the championship during his first reign, but would find ways to kind of get out of it. And he kind of said, well, we have this opportunity. It's not much. It's a quick segment. I said, I will make the most out of that. I said, I'll show up in better shape. I'm going to do whatever I have to. And that ended up turning into this. I don't even think that was supposed to happen. It just kind of windfalled into the win at Unbreakable.
And that's the best way for it to happen. And now you mentioned Plummer, you have to keep speaking up to get your spots. And now it's at the point where I think Hooven could disappear for a couple of weeks from your inbox. You can't hear from him, and the fans are going to be asking you, is Hooven on the show? What's Hooven doing next month? The fans want it now, Hooven. You can just kind of rest back. Now you made it, man.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I don't know. I just believe you got to work hard. And here's the thing, though. Like, you got to speak up, but you also got to put up or shut up. And I think, Justin, as a person and as a businessman, as a promoter, he'll give you that opportunity, but if you screw it up, that's your own fault. He can only do so much for you, give you a platform, but if you can't give him, here's the thing, like you said, you have all these people coming in, that spot's worth something. That's worth something. It's a chance to contribute to the company. And if you're not going to hold up your end of the deal, then you can't complain when you're not provided an opportunity the next time around. And I feel, I'm persistent. I try to make the most out of what I get, but you have to put up or shut up, and that's what I think it was. If I showed up and half-assed it, and I just wasn't doing what I needed to do, he has every right to put somebody else in that spot that will maximize it better than me. It's talent management, and I think that's one of the things I really respect about the IWC is that you get your opportunities, but you have to earn your stay.
And I think other people are seeing that too. You rewinded that match with Mambo where you were bleeding buckets. You really showed, talk about kayfabe-wise, what you were willing to go through to be the high-stakes champion, all that nonsense. But, backstage, me and you filmed a backstage interview where we're talking about, what you went through to show the fans what you'd give to them and how much you love the fans. And Shane Douglas was the one that came up to you and wanted to endorse you. We didn't ask him, hey, Shane, can you do this thing for us for this video? We're going to put it on the website. It'll be awesome. Shane wanted to do that. And Shane was in the match, as the referee. He's watching, firsthand, and he's thinking to himself, wow, this guy's really going for it. And you earned the respect of Shane Douglas that night. You know what I mean? And he's not even someone that has been in the crowd the last few months to witness the rise of Hooven.
Was that that had been the greatest moment of your life?
Yeah, I remember. I was talking to the Mambo, and when Shane Douglas was the replacement, I said he's like my top three. Like he's a top three for me. Like the top three of your favorite.
Oh yeah, you talk about like an ECW, of course. Yeah, that had to be a huge
shout
deal.
Out to Shane Douglas, by the way, for stepping in last minute. Hooven, the heartache that I was going through when we lost Hardcore Holly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Shane Douglas was awesome.
He's great.
Literally like a week or two before.
I've been on a few shows with him. He's a great guy. But,
and it worked out so well, especially for you. I mean, with all this happened. I mean, I watched your interview after with Lendl and Shane, and I'm like, God, I'm almost jealous. That is incredible. It doesn't get better than that. You should have just quit. It'll never get better.
No, that was a special moment that I'll always remember. It just the whole thing worked out perfectly, and it's funny. I felt dripping. It didn't hurt when the chair hit me, and because I'm an idiot, I don't put my hands up for stuff. Don't do that, kids at home. I'm an idiot for doing that. But I just felt dripping, and my one friend had come to her first ever wrestling show. Her kids loved it. Plummer, she'll be back. They loved it. They had a great time. But it was fake because I was bleeding so bad. And I didn't realize I got to the back and saw myself in the mirror what I looked like. I just knew when I started bleeding, it was time to just, go for it. So sadly, that might be like the top of like the Hardcore Hooven, like my career. So,
Well, we did that promo, and another thing too that I want to mention because the people, that aren't backstage or, behind the camera like us, they don't see this, is every month, whether you have a match, whether you don't have a match, win or lose, whether you're in a big spot or not, you always try to find me and try to get a promo filmed. And that's something that, to me, I respect, because we mentioned earlier about the Vader promo and how, he maybe really didn't want to do it and he was in a bad mood that day. Me and Plummer both know how, important it is to get that airtime to some of these guys, to get them seen by more eyes. And there are so many people that either don't get that or don't care, that I've asked them, hey, we have a promo tonight, and they roll their eyes. What do you mean we have a promo? Oh, I'll just shoot one at home, or I'll just do it later. But every month you come to me, hey, Lendl, do you care if we do a promo? Can I bother you for a minute? And you may think that you're, annoying me or you're a pain in my ass, but in my head I'm like, wow, I really respect that, because you truly understand, whether you have a match the next month or not, how much every minute of airtime is. You mentioned that spot in July, you wanted to make it the best it could be, and the Shane Douglas promo, all those things. Every month you want to do so. That's a testament to you as a person, to your work ethic.
Well, I can't find Dave backstage.
Get the hell out of here! I tried to put you over. You got cut that out.
Hooven, when you
Production team, cut that out on the final edit. I don't want that on my show.
I mean, the real question is, when you approach...
I love Dave Kitch.
When you approach Lendl to film an interview, do you get nervous? Like, Tom?
I do. It's kind of a name.
Because it's a big deal. It's a Ring of Honor television superstar.
Well, no, Nick does a lot for me. I always say, hey, man.
I know, he does.
I always say, hey, man.
He's my man.
You've been to Madison Square Garden, so what should I say here at the Courtime Sports Center? No. No, I said it one night, I really mean it. I don't care if I'm a segment. I don't care if I'm on the Facebook, Live. But I actually embrace that, because I feel like, being on Facebook Live is a way that you can help contribute to the company and get some buy-in. I love it.
It's the most important match besides the main event of the entire night, and I people don't get that. That Facebook Live match is so important. That's why we just don't throw anybody in there. But I feel like people still view it as the pre-show. But
no, I got excited. My first two title defenses were on it. But you'll always get a promo from me. Once again, it goes back to being provided a platform and an opportunity, and I feel like when you're provided that platform or opportunity at a place like the IWC, your end of the deal includes, a promo to help hype the show, sharing on social media. Even if we don't use a promo, at least I have something. That's my end of the stick for the platform to perform.
And talking about how big IWC is, and Plummer mentioned earlier, there's all these people that we're not reaching out to them to come here. They're reaching out to us. You mentioned Ethan Page, Josh Alexander from Impact. They want to be here every month. Plummer's not emailing them every week. Can you come back? We really want you back. Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, they want to be in that IWC locker room. Jonathan Gresham, you mentioned Ring of Honor. I'm on the road with Jonathan Gresham a lot. He talks about IWC. He was so excited for his feud with Jack and Argos a few years ago. And you mentioned, again, I've been in the car with people, and Marty Scurll, who's one of the biggest names in wrestling right now, was in the car with him last year sometime, and he's talking. I don't remember who he's talking about.
Are you okay, Nick? You sound like you just dropped a few things.
Get the hell out of here.
Wait,
I'm trying to favor the company here. Let me just
finish
my statement. Let me finish my statement, because I want to say this, and then you can drag on me all you want.
Because you were supposed to get Marty Scurll for Super Indy, so damn it, the story better end with he's coming in.
Yeah, here's the deal. Plummer wanted me to sweet talk Marty Scurll into coming to Super Indy, and I told him I would, because I was supposed to see him 3 or 4 times until before then, and now with this coronavirus, I don't know when I'll see him again. But the deal was, I was in the car with him. He's talking about somebody, I don't remember who it is, some indie name, and he's talking about how they're on their way up and they look good and they have a big future. And he says, oh, they don't work like, he named like 2 or 3 places. I won't say the other names, but one of them was IWC. He says, well, she doesn't work for like blah, 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 or IWC or anything like that, but she's working some pretty big places. And I didn't say anything, but I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, wow, like, that's a pretty big deal. You know what I mean? For him to put IWC with 2 or 3 other big companies. And that's the end of my dropping things.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's the first time I heard that. And then you said come to Super Indy, and he said yes.
No, this was a while ago. This was a long time ago.
I think you pissed Hooven off so bad that he just left.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm here. Sorry, the Nick's the bandwidth was getting a little bit taken down. I'm still here though.
This is the real Hooven, kids. It only took an hour, but this is the real Hooven. No, seriously though, I love you, Hooven. You're one of my closest friends in the locker room. We're on a hiatus now. We have no idea when we're going to get back. We want to get back as soon as possible, but you were kind of left off. These last couple high stakes matches, bleeding buckets. What's next for Hardcore Hooven when the IWC finally does resume here a couple months, whenever it may be? What's next for Hardcore Hooven?
Well, it's going to be Super Indy, so he won't be on. We know that. He doesn't just...
Apparently Marty scrolled Super Indy, from what I understand from this conversation. No, I don't know. I think when this is all over, I'll just be happy to wrestle in anything. I'd love to get back in the high stakes hunt, but I think RC is doing his thing. I think he's going to be really successful in that, and I think the fans are really excited to see him back, obviously. So good for him. I don't know. I just want to compete. The last event, Jamie and I teamed up. We're close friends behind the camera, behind the curtain as well. So maybe that turns into something. But just wherever I'm put, I'm always going to give my 110%. I'm ready to do my 3 matches at Super Indy, as we talked about. But
you get paid 3 times. What the hell, right?
Yeah, wherever I fit in and can contribute, that's going to be the spot that I'll be happy to take. But I just want to wrestle. I've been still, my regime's good. I think I'm ready to just keep doing what I'm doing. But any opportunity that comes up, I'm going to make the most out of it.
Well, we do have a couple minutes left. Before we take some questions, was there anything you wanted to bring up that I haven't mentioned, that Plummer didn't bring up, that we may have forgotten, that you want to bring up before we answer some questions from the fans?
Yeah, no, I think the only thing, Justin, I don't know about you, but I haven't got my royalty checks from Nick because I was the idiot that said, hey, this guy looks like he's real good. And Nick Lendl showed up one day at IWC.
I was going to bring that up.
Did I ask you about Lendl when he emailed us?
No, I saw him on Twitter announcing the Iconics, and I put him in touch with the IWC.
Wait, is that true?
Yes, absolutely. I had I did the thing at the Performance Center, and I had a couple video clips, and that was the first thing I had ever done. I had never worked any indies or anything. Yeah. So they had sent me the clips, so I just put the clips on Twitter. I think I had just made a Twitter after that. I don't even think I had a Twitter at that point. So I
put
the clips
up. Hey at Triple H, hey at Vince McMahon, hey at Stephanie McMahon, hey at Kevin Dunn.
I didn't know any better. Come on, I didn't know any better at the time.
So anyway, it. Now you're like.
Well, hey, it worked because I got the IWC, and screw you both because I got Madison Square Garden. You brought it up, so it's Hooven's fault. Screw you both. But anyway, no. But really though, I tagged a bunch of people on Facebook. I had no idea what to do. I had no idea how to get bookings. I had never worked the indies, and I got a DM from this Daniel Hooven. And I looked, and it looked like he was some kind of wrestling photographer. He said, "Have you ever heard of IWC in Pittsburgh?" I said, "Yeah, actually, I have. I emailed them about a year ago. Never heard back from them." Which
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
You anyway, you must have emailed Chuck.
Anyway, the funniest part about it was, Hooven gives me your info, Plummer, and says, I think you should talk to the owner, Justin Plummer. He's a friend of mine. Tell him that I sent you his way. And I email you, and I think I sent you the clip of me announcing whoever it was, the Iconics. And you emailed me back and said, "Oh, I'd really love to have you, but I just can't pay you what you were making in NXT."
Yeah. Well, it's true. Because I'll get guys that are like, I used to write for WWE, and
okay.
And I'm like, they probably don't understand that this,
Yeah.
It's the same thing as bands that are trying to make it big. It's the same thing as comedians who are trying to make it big. It's like, you're not going to come here and make a ton of money. You're going to come here and maybe break even after it's all said and done. So I just hate, it's always uncomfortable for me to have that conversation because I'm not the type of guy to I don't like that whole part of the equation. But yeah, you're sending me WWE pictures. I'm like, oh god, this guy's gonna be let down.
Well, no, I mean, and then look, 5 years later, this is almost 5 years. I'm still here. Look at the opportunities that have come from it, and that's all. These two guys right here, and maybe Joe Dombrowski and Bobby Cruz, or other than you two. Those two are probably the only two people that have given me the opportunities that I've gotten because of YouTube. But this isn't about me. Let's talk to Hooven.
Yeah,
Let's get some questions. Let's get some questions for Hooven. What do we have here?
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up again. Man, do you think that the Mandine could steal any of your women?
No. Look at him.
Yeah,
No, look at him. That's his answer.
Yeah, that's a rough one. All right, so and then Pollock's in here. I gotta find this. Hold on. And then we do have some questions. Pollock clarified, we had a discussion on when he debuted. I can't find it. Jack, if you're still in there, let me know. But I think he said his first match was January 17. Was that your first match, Hooven?
Yeah, because he said he was happy he was on before me to get some sweet-ass Hooven pictures.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so December of 16 is when he would have debuted.
Yeah.
All right, what do you enjoy more over your time, pro wrestling or ghost hunting?
Oh, pro wrestling, bar none. It's not even a contest.
There's not a return to the ghost hunting field for Hooven? No more episodes?
There almost was a year ago. There almost was a year ago when they rebooted a bunch of the franchises. But, no, I love pro wrestling. It's my passion since day one.
Favorite match? Let's do IWC. Favorite match in IWC.
Favorite match in IWC. That's hard. That's really hard. I would say my favorite match I'm going to give you three. I'm going to cop out and give you my top three. Top three would be Adam Cole versus Joey Janela, which I think that super indie was so amazing. I think that match got overlooked just because of the quality of it, but I love that match. So Adam Cole versus Joey Janela. Wardlow versus DJ Z, because I feel like that was like Wardlow's match that blew everybody out of the water. I love Wardlow more than Plummer, I think, which is scary.
Not possible.
Huge Wardlow fan. And then that was a great match. And then this third match, I feel like this is one of the best women's matches IWC ever had in my time around, was Lufisto versus Ray Lynn I believe it was Threat Level Midnight or Wipeout. It was a July event, but that match was a banger. That was a great match.
How good was IWC Wipeout? No one probably even remembers it even.
That is the most underrated show of your entire regime. The main event was balls. It was balls out of control. It was amazing. That event was great.
I remember when I was watching the main event from the production area thinking, is this the end of the IWC? This is so out of control. I don't even remember what it was. Was it Jimmy DeMarco and Dylan Bostic?
Yeah, with a kiss on the line for Ray Lynn, and then the STDs interfered.
STDs with inner tubes and stuff.
It was amazing. And then Wardlow came out with just stomping stuff. It was great.
Yeah, classic.
Well, I think the question though, and I didn't want to interrupt you because I wanted to hear your answers. But what was a match that you had? What was your favorite match that you participated in?
I'm not just saying this because it's fresh in my mind. I would say my favorite match was me versus Mambo Italiano. I would think my last two matches were my two favorites. Sentimentally, my debut, but yeah, Mambo versus me with Shane Douglas as special guest referee. Favorite match, bar none. Beastman's right behind it.
So those are your last couple matches. So that means it only gets better from here, right? Your matches are just going to keep getting better.
We'll see. As long as I can use weapons and get hit with chairs, I'll be in a good place.
Here's a question that I have personally, and just because it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I know you
want to see
for a garden.
Oh my God! It's live, everybody. Okay, what are the chances we see Hardcore Hooven versus A, New Jack, which I know you said you were game for. Or, now this is the interesting one, Hardcore Hooven versus Channing Decker, full circle with you both having hardcore.
Oh, God. Pollock's going to flip out right now that you just said that.
Why, because I didn't put him in the match?
Oh, yeah, Pollock wants Decker back.
I would
Leave it up to
love.
the fans. Leave it up to the fans, Pollock.
I think Hardcore Hooven versus Hardcore Channing Decker would have to be my last match. It's just full circle. If you think about everything, Plummer, you think about everything, the fraternity, we were in a fraternity, the fraternity I debuted against one, it's full circle. New Jack, if anybody wants to book it, I'm down. I would love to. That would be a dream come true. But I think I might have to go out of state for that match. But no, I think I kind of wonder, Hardcore. I mean, he's on such a different level than me though in every way. I feel like it would be so hard to keep up with him. But I think that would be full circle for me at that point because we both evolved so much. I think.
I think if Marshall Gambino cares about you, Hooven, as much as he says he does, he'll make that happen somewhere else.
I need New Jack.
You hear that, Marshall? He needs New Jack. Make it happen. Somebody said, "Oh boy, Pollock's pissed. He doesn't want." He says, "He'll kill you or somebody else if you get Decker before him." Somebody says, "What about Hooven versus Plummer?" And I think that's a terrible idea. What about Hooven and Plummer versus like Jackson, Argos, and I don't know who else needs their ass whooped? The Mandine. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
I don't know if I can ever do it again. I did the one match, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. I got it out of my system.
We got to get him in there. We got to get him in the ring.
Only if Lendl announces me. That's
okay.
my dream. When I became a wrestling fan, I said, I want Nick Lendl to bring me to the ring, and that's the only thing I'll ever care about.
Tune in next week to everybody shit on Nick Lendl with Justin Plummer.
Oh, wait, here's what... Okay, I know the answer to this, but we'll ask it. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
That's Taz. Taz is my favorite wrestler of all time.
You have a Taz tattoo, right?
I have a tattoo that is similar to one of his logos. Yeah,
a variant of a Taz tattoo.
Taz by far. It's I tried to pay tribute to him in ECW. I think Joe Dombrowski said he felt like he was watching an ECW highlight tape at my match with Mambo, which he knew exactly what I was doing. I appreciate that about Joe. He knows how my mind works, so he plays along with it. He's a good guy for that. But yeah, Taz absolutely bar none my favorite.
Here's another question I have. With more and more indie shows being booked there over the last year or so, what would it mean if Hardcore Hooven got booked in the 2300 arena, the ECW arena in Philadelphia? It's not an impossibility. Yeah,
that would be. I mean, I remember I felt special taking pictures there for the GCW Trent Acid Memorial Cup. I felt special just being in that building. It would mean everything. It would be like coming back to play in your hometown stadium. It would be surreal. So yeah, it would mean a lot.
Well, we're going to wrap this up here. We've gone a little over an hour.
We did, and we'll wrap it up. I got one more thing because Mandime's talking all kinds of shit in the chat here.
Oh, here we go.
Shut up, Mandime. Shut up.
I don't know, June, I've been, first of all, for anyone that's watching, I've been in weekly contact with the State Athletic Commission, and the goal is to come back June 13th. I'm going to promote that. I'm going to do our best to get these guys back to work because that's my job. So let's all pray that works out. In the meantime, I know that Jamie Jameson does have a ring set up in his yard or in his shed or something. And if Mandime wants to keep talking all this trash on Hooven, and he's, I made the joke that Hooven will team up, and Mandime said he'd whoop our ass. And obviously, I'm not going to get back in the ring. But I'll tell you what, Dime, if you're watching and you want to drive on out to Jamie's place, Hooven, if you want to make the trip, Dime, why don't you bring your buddy and we'll do a little unsanctioned fight. The state can't stop that. They can stop it from happening at court time, but they can't stop it from happening in Jamie's backyard. So I will turn the blind eye to that if Hooven's down for it, if Jamie Jameson, the Country Hammer's down for it, and maybe if you want to show up, go show up.
Yeah, Don keeps talking like he's a tough guy. Here's the thing. He might be a good wrestler. He may have somehow paid John to let him tag along. He's essentially the X-Pac and Big Show version of the NWO. That's what we're seeing in Team Big League right now. So he wants to keep talking. Yeah, we're not going to be in a ring. And if he wants to fight, bring that turtleneck freak Nystrom, show up at Jamie's place, and we'll have a fight because that's going to be a lot different than what he's used to.
6 feet apart.
Hey, what happens at the Country Hammer Estate happens at the Country Hammer Estates.
You hear that? You hear
Tom,
that?
Tom
Jeremy?
doesn't
Production
have,
team, you're getting
he
sent
doesn't
there.
have jurisdiction over the.
Pack your bags.
Yeah.
All right, Hooven, we're going to wrap this up. You've been awesome, man. Was there anything you wanted to say to your fans before we sign off here?
No, just, I appreciate the support. I appreciate the, I just miss everybody. I miss the wrestlers. I miss the production crew. Miss the fans. Stay safe out there. And thank you guys for having me on here. Once again, I had a great time. Justin, we've been up and down the road together, so I appreciate all the opportunities you provided. But just, it's a great time. And I'm thankful that the IWC production team and ownership are stepping up to put out content like this for the fans. But just be safe, everybody, and we'll see you when we see you.
Absolutely. We want to thank everybody for joining in. This has been the second episode of IWC Spotlight. It seems to be working out pretty well. We'll see you next week unless Justin Plummer wants to give us the boot. We'll keep it locked to all the IWC social media platforms as we announce our guest for next week. My name's Nick Lendl. I want to thank Justin Plummer for helping me steer the ship tonight and our guest, Daniel Hooven. And good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.